Let us know what you think about that debate. Do you think syntaxes work? Do you think they're moral, even? Anyway, up next is Albie, and he is going to talk about why Brits blush at the thought of nakedness. Let's start the clock, Albie.
Start that clock. Are British attitudes towards nudity prudish or prudent? Channel 4 shocked the nation this week with the launch of their new show, Naked Education, Dividing Opinion. A new television show about all things in the buff. Bosoms, breasts and bottoms. Adults stripping off in front of teenagers to teach the nation all about their bodies. Is this deeply concerning and inappropriate, as Tory MPs Miriam Cates and Jonathan Gullis say, or is it a useful antidote to airbrush pictures, perfect celebrities and unrealistic porn? Germans embrace FKK, free body culture. Many sunbathe, visit saunas and hike naked. It's not seen as voyeuristic or sexual, but natural and liberating. Is it time we Brits loosened up a bit? We all have bodies. Is a new TV show teaching us a little bit more about them really as horrific as some people say? What do you think? Are Brits prudish or prudent about nudity?
Well, there we go.
So it has been a bit of a controversial week for Channel 4. Many people are saying it might be a bit of a gimmick to get people talking about it, and we're talking about it this evening. But Alex Phillips, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this, because I know that nudity and pornography are things that you're very passionate about. And you've got very strong opinions about them. So I wonder what you think about this television show.
I think we've got to an age in society where you think, how much further can this go on? You know, how much more, when you've got, you know, music videos that are basically soft pornography, it's feeding down into fast fashion, the way that teenage girls are dressing. When the government's having to legislate to stop minors from injecting their lips with fillers and getting Botox, you realise we do have a problem. And I don't necessarily think this, you know, Naked Education show on Channel 4 is the problem. And perhaps it is helpful to address, you know, what real bodies look like. But it is a symptom of our age, isn't it, that we live in a deeply pornified society now where sex sells, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of safeguarding preventing adult fetish being foisted onto young people.
And I think that's the crucial point, right? Because drag queen, oh my God, I cannot say it. Drag Queen Story Hour, that's quite the tongue twister, is in schools now, right? So I think, actually, let's just go to the clip and show our viewers what it is that we're actually referencing, because I don't think it's appropriate for kids. That's the fundamental point.
Physical?
I couldn't look at them. I don't think my cat's even got that much hair.
You're giggling quite a lot back there.
I'm always the one that giggles.
Bobby, how do you feel?
I feel fine.
I'm not even bothered.
I mean, I've never been in a room with 4 naked people. They've never been in a room with 4 naked people. Maybe Dr. Alex has. I'm not sure. Elliot, you've got naked people standing in front of you.
Yes, I do.
Is this a new thing, a new experience? I'm guessing it probably is.
Yeah, it is a bit.
I mean, Albie, we were told, right, that we need Channel 4 because Channel 4 is there to educate the nation. If you ask me, Channel 4 is just there to spread perversion throughout
the nation.
Well, look, as I'm a professional, I did actually watch the entire show, longer than that entire clip. And I watched it, and I was actually quite moved by some of the conversations they were having. There were conversations about postnatal depression. There were conversations about what normal body hair looks like. Really important things, and actually, we don't normally have in popular society. So to come back to what Alex was just saying, Emily, do you feel that actually maybe this is an antidote to some of the more pornographic parts of society, because this is showing what real people look like?
Well, I'm not sure, because some of the children there were 14 years old. I'm not sure how much benefit it is to see adults stripped off. But I want to ask you, what is the optimal level of nudity in society? Because you were talking about Germany, and yes, they sometimes like to, well, I think they like naturism more than us, that sort of thing. Sweden as well likes to be nude a little more. What's the optimal level?
I don't think there is an optimal level of nudity. I think it's up to individuals to decide what they want to do as long as they're not harming other people. I think that's the point. So the question is, are television shows like this, Darren, harming the teenagers, 14 to 16-year-olds, that are watching this?
Well, as you rightly say, I haven't actually watched the programme, but as I understand it, they do have trans participation in the show. So to me, this is, they get that in schools these days. They get told that it's not a gingerbread man, it's a gingerbread them or something like that. They do. And now, gender ideology on Channel 4 News and within schools. It's everywhere. It's pervasive and it's perverted. I don't know why we need this in front of schools and kids.
But is it harmful, Benjamin, for people to see all different kinds of bodies, trans bodies or otherwise?
Well, I tell you what, if Emily wants fewer fatties, seeing those bums put me off eating for a long time. That was not, I'm sorry if you're eating your dinner at home right now. But look, I actually think, when I first saw about this programme, I felt uncomfortable about it. I thought it was a very peculiar idea. Is there not something a bit odd about having naked adults in front of teenagers? But actually, the naked body isn't inherently sexual. We have created and live in a society where the only way in which we see private parts of other people or the suggestion of those parts is in pornography or is in intentionally explicit music videos or films. Those elements of culture, we see people's bodies all the time and it's sexualised. And actually, I think, especially for our generation and a bit younger than us, they are constantly subjected to artificial ideas of what other people's bodies look like. Often the people in the pictures don't even look like that. They've edited it. And so I think a programme like this, to see real bodies, to be comfortable with those bodies out of a sexual context and to be happy about the human form, I think that's a good idea.
And in that vein, Alex, should we take a more German approach to nudity? No. Should we be seeing more normal naked bodies in everyday life? The Germans are fine with it.
Well, Germans have been fine with things I'm not fine with for a long time. But look, if these characters stood outside the school gate in the buff, they'd get arrested.
Yeah,
it would be a form of child abuse, right? So I'm actually, it's quite disconcerting. I think there are arguments to make about normalising the body. I think that's true. But, I was on a skiing holiday in Austria over Christmas, went into the sauna, thought I was the only person in the hotel because I don't ski. Went down, sat in the sauna in my swimming costume because I'm not a German. And in came an entire Austrian family, all naked, mother, father, children. And honestly, I felt like it was just really uncomfortable. It was awkward. And But I'm sorry.
How long did you wait to leave?
It was kind of like, you sit there and sort of play with the thermometer on the wall and pretend you're a bit hot. My time's up now, I'm going. I'm not part of family naked.
Can I just say, surely the problem with that was a problem that you had, not a problem that they had?
Of course it is, and that's very different, right? If there is I spend a lot of time in Scandinavia. I've been to Finland a lot, and you have naked saunas and non-naked saunas, and you choose which one you want to go into, and that's fine. If adults want to sit around naked together in a sauna, who am I to stop them? It's very different, adults standing there naked in front of teenagers, right? And I can see that this is a programme that has been thoughtfully put together, some might argue, but it does beg the question of, if that's acceptable, why can't parents turn up in the buff at the school gate? What's the difference?
Benjamin Butterworth, do you see the jump from Channel 4's Naked Education to parents turning up to the buff to pick up their children?
No. But, look, on the one hand, you see naked bike rides, for example, certainly in central London.
Unfortunately.
That's something people do. And I don't, when I'm having a latte in Soho, I don't really want to see sort of, 200 middle-aged men with their bits out, right? I think it's odd. But actually, I've been on a journey this week about this question because I think we should become more comfortable. I am not of that inclination. I have no desire to be a naturist, you'll all be relieved to know. I don't like to show my body off, right? I like to be sort of fully covered, that's my preference. But then do I have that preference because I have problematic ideas about what the body is meant to look like and this would overcome it? And that's the conclusion I've come to.
But you know what? I'm not sure as a teenager it would actually make me feel more comfortable. I think it might actually make me feel more anxious. Seeing the naked bodies up there. It certainly might make me more fearful as a 14-year-old of the male body. If I saw a naked man standing right in front of me or, hairy with his genitals out, that would actually probably be quite an intimidating experience and not something that I necessarily need to respect or enjoy even, or learn from at the age of 14, don't you think?
But a few years earlier than that, it wouldn't be remotely odd that a parent and their child, might see each other naked.
Well, I'm going to have to cut you off there, Benjamin, because